Hello and welcome back to the channel. Now today I want to talk through some of my weirder books. If you've seen, I think it was the second video I posted on this channel, so it was a long time ago, you would have seen the first batch of weird and esoteric books that I've, for some reason, decided I need to own. And today we're going to go through some more. What can I say? When I go to a charity shop, when I'm looking at rare bookshops and I see a book that is on an interesting theme, that kind of feels a bit kind of folklore-y, whoever wrote it must have been quite eccentric, I just can't help but picking it up. I'm attracted to people who are a little bit weird, and I feel like if you wrote a book about it, then that just makes you an interesting person. The commitment to write a book about something which most people are going to assume upon just seeing the title that you're a crackpot. I just think that's really good fun. So anyway, I picked up some more books since last time, and I'm going to go through them today. I've got 10-ish. I've got to be honest, I haven't read any of these books. I just like collecting them. I'm not going to devote hours and hours of my time to read a book about a phenomena that I don't believe in. Or maybe I should. Maybe I would believe in it if I read it. So, to start off with, I have two books by two very prominent names in cryptozoology. Cryptozoology is the study of animals that may or may not exist, that are mostly just attested in local legend or in stories or whatever. There are a few big names in this biz. There's John Keel, the Mothman guy, Tim Dinsdale, the Loch Ness Monster guy. We have here two books. So first of all, we've got Roy P. Mackall's Searching for Hidden Animals. This took me a long time to find. Roy P. Mackall is an interesting man. He was also involved in the search for the Loch Ness Monster in the 1960s. Of course, still looking. Have you seen the Loch Ness Monster? If you have, I would love to hear your stories. Unfortunately, he did not find conclusive evidence. One of the other things that Roy P. Mackall was interested in is on the phenomena of surviving ancient animals. In particular, there is the Mackal Mbembe, which is the idea of there being this large sauropod dinosaur still existing somewhere in the jungles of Congo. Unfortunately, it's kind of a little bit of a corruption of, local legend, and to be honest, kind of rooted in colonialism and a little bit awkward. Yes, unfortunately, a lot of the weird esoteric authors seem to like to propagate ideas that are rather colonialist and awkward, and it makes it slightly problematic to collect them. Here I am anyway. Also, we have On the Track of Unknown Animals by Bernard Heuvelmans. I found out that he was Belgian, so I'm going to go with Heuvelmans. It seems like the right pronunciation. I'm going to need my Belgian buddies to correct me on that one. One thing I like about this one is it has, in the middle, some photos of purported Yeti footprints, and also a brown bear trail put next to it just for comparison, so we can see that what we're talking about here. Again, this has got some kind of slightly problematic chapters in it. There's one chapter about animals that resemble humans, the man-faced animals of Southeast Asia. That feels like he's going in a certain direction, which I rather would like to not be involved in. But cryptozoology is a very fascinating subject, and more on cryptozoology later. We mentioned John Keel, the Mothman guy, but did you know he wrote a book on UFOs? Yes, he did. And in this book, there are hundreds of eyewitness accounts of UFOs. This was published in the 60s. This is the second printing. Was it published in the 60s? This was published in 1970. This is the second printing. I mean, if you try to find an original copy of the Mothman Prophecies, I can tell you it's going to cost you hundreds and hundreds of pounds. So to have a book by John Keel in hardback, I'm quite pleased with that. I think that's very cool. Of course, UFOs. Once again, hot topic. I am still not convinced by the evidence for UFOs. We don't know. We assume the universe is pretty big. There's probably going to be some aliens around. I'm still of the opinion that there's not really much reason for them to visit without actually, saying hello. Unless they've learned the lessons we learned from colonialism. Maybe those aliens don't want to be colonial. They just want to investigate. They just want to observe. And okay, yeah, makes sense. More aliens. This shiny book. Look at that. That kind of plasticky, foily dust jacket. Have you ever seen anything like that? This here is W. Raymond Drake's Spacemen in the Ancient East. And this is one of the books in the Ancient Astronauts category of books. And you know what that is? That's basically the idea that we have been visited by aliens in the past and that they are responsible for some of the massive technological advances that we saw in the ancient era. The pyramids, for example, again, slightly problematic, racist idea of the Africans couldn't have built that. Anyway, this was released 4 years before von Daniken's famous Chariots of the Gods, which is another book that was huge, that was kind of saying that same idea of were we visited by aliens in the past, and were the kind of the mythological accounts of, you know, the gods, were they just, you know, stories that have been corrupted from an experience of ancient civilizations encountering aliens? I gotta be honest, I bought this one mostly because it's shiny. I thought that was very cool. But you can never have too many books about ancient aliens. You can definitely have too many books about ancient aliens. Moving on from aliens and cryptozoological finds, we have the psychical phenomena. And I have 2 books here by the same author, which I only discovered after I put them side by side in my collection. I just picked these up independently. So first of all, we have The Study and Practice of Astral Projection, which, as far as I'm aware, is a spell in Dungeons & Dragons, which is the only encounter I've had with astral projection. But the idea behind that is that you can disconnect from your body and observe a remote location, or in some instances, interact with that remote location. And, you know, it comes from the idea of out-of-body experiences when you die. I remember hearing a story told in church once of an out-of-body experience of a man who was stung by a jellyfish and then, you know, departed from his body and then was, you know, went to heaven and met God. And it was kind of weird. Some of the experiences I've had in church have been kind of weird looking back on them. Some people are keen to find those stories that help strengthen their faith. But I got to be honest, I'd kind of heard that story and I went, that's a bit weird. Don't know if I believe that. Anyway, astral projection. In this case, it's the psychical phenomenon. So can you, use your psychic power to disembark from your body and go to other places? Why did I bring up the church? Well, that's because Robert Crookall also did this book here, The Supreme Adventure, which was actually sponsored by the Church's Fellowship for Psychical Study. And the idea behind this book was that he was going to do a bit of a research project for the church into psychic communications. And you know what, I respect that, because I mean, that's a fairly, I think, a progressive kind of church ideal there, looking for explanations for the strange folklore that we find and not just dismissing them out of hand because they don't fit inside their biblical worldview. What conclusion he came to, I mean, it seems that he's pretty pro, considering he wrote multiple books on the subject. I don't know, Robert Crookall, interesting guy. I think he was really open to being challenged on these things as well, because I also note that on both of these books, it has his address with the preface. So you can write to him, you can say, I have my own opinions, or I have found, here, these are my own stories. I don't think you really find authors' personal addresses published in books anymore. It's kind of fun. Still staying in the psychic realms, we have Cassandra Eason's Psychic Power of Children. This was another book that I bought in a charity shop and Laura just rolled her eyes at me. But this is very interesting. Cassandra Eason has gone on to publish over 150 books, and this was her first one. First of all, it tells the tale of her son, who at the age of, I think, 2.5, 3, just told her that Daddy had been hurt, and it turned out that he had a motorbike accident 40 miles away, which is, I mean, to be fair, pretty spooky. If that happened to me in life, I would probably go and write 150 books about psychic phenomena. It's kind of a bit odd. So in this book, she basically puts forward the idea that children have a deeper psychic connection than adults do, and some theories as to why that could be. As for me, I don't believe in psychic powers, but I do like this book. And look at that. Look, the child's holding a little teddy on the front. That looks like if I just went like that, you would think that was a horror book, wouldn't you? That's terrifying. Moving back to religious folklore, we have here a book on the Turin Shroud by Ian Wilson. Honestly, the Turin Shroud is a fascinating subject. If you don't know anything about the Turin Shroud, it is basically this purportedly ancient fabric that purportedly, I'm going to use the word purportedly a lot, has the impression of Jesus' face burned into it because it was, in theory, the shroud that was covering Jesus in the tomb after he was taken down from the cross by Joseph of Arimathea. And I guess this is supposed to be some kind of burn pattern from some physical phenomena that happened when he rose from the dead. As for me, I think this is a kind of another example of a religious relic that doesn't necessarily have a lot of weight behind it. You know, they've done various testings on the shroud and it doesn't seem to be an ancient item. I know Mel Gibson did go onto the Joe Rogan show to say that it was an ancient item. I found out that the study, which supposedly says it's an ancient item, says it's an ancient item because the X-ray testing that tells you that it's an ancient item is more reliable, apparently, than the carbon dating that would be done on the item. And the reason it says that it's more reliable is because it believes that the Turin Shroud is an ancient item. And so it's a circular logic, unfortunately. It's not the first time you encounter circular logic in esoteric literature. But wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be cool if that turned out to be the face of Jesus? I mean, I doubt it, but it would be pretty cool. We're going to go to the granddaddy of weird phenomena and the recording of that. And that is here in the compendium, the first 30 issues of the Fortean Times. So the Fortean Times is a collection of little kind of tidbits of weird phenomena happening in the world that were then recorded and kind of clipped. And what that does is it creates the most amazing material for Dungeon Masters, because you can basically look at this book and go, this is my flick to any page and I've got a rumour that could be spread in a pub. Nairobi, a strange beast believed by superstitious tribespeople to be a monster has been running amok in the Mayanja region of Kenya. The beast has been described as a combination of lion, leopard and dog and has eluded all hunters. It has been devouring sheep, goats, calves and dogs in mud hut villages over a large area. Other stories tell of a giant cheetah on the rampage. It sounds like almost like an episode of Welcome to Night Vale. Just reading this is great fun. And if you can find a compendium at the Fortean Times and you're a dungeon master, then that's going to serve you well. Two more. So this one here is a very thin book. It's called The Glastonbury Giants. And the author of this book, Mr. M. Caine, I saw you did there, Michael, has found in the area around Glastonbury and around Stonehenge, has found in the environment various shapes which seem to comport to the signs of the Zodiac. And this is not actually, wasn't his finding. These were originally found by someone else and then they've revised them. And in fact, if you go to the center of the book, you can see it gives you a map so you can find them yourself. But if you are struggling to find them yourself, then you can look them up and you can find, there you go, there's Capricorn right there. You can go and find them around there. I think that the idea behind this is that ancient peoples divided up the land using, I don't know, like hedgerows and rivers and I don't know, in order to specifically draw these shapes upon the land. But I must say, I mean, if that's the case, I mean, that is not a very convincing phoenix, is it? You know, this is I mean, what is that? What is that supposed to be? I'm not convinced. Anyway, in fact, if the light hits this just right, I can see that there's actually someone has written on that. They use this as a pad. This is an interesting find. Okay, Yvonne. There we go. Come on, let's get this light. I should get a bit of paper in, trying to see if I can work out what it says. See if I can do this. I think you're supposed to do this with charcoal. We don't have any charcoal. Let's try some ash from the fire. Oh my gosh. It's Jesus' face. There genuinely is a message on here and I can't work out what it says. Lastly, we have this book here, which was given to me by my friend from the States. I don't know whether they want to be on this video, so I'm going to keep them anonymous, but they're a very dear friend. And recently they went on a cryptozoology course, just like one of those ones that you can just sign up to, and it was run by Caine. And here we have Caine's
Official guide to the mysterious world. Explore unexplained creatures, places, and things.
And so when they were done with the course, they sent me their textbook. This is the textbook for the course. And so it's now the most important book that I have. And if we go in here, there's actually some handouts, which our friend was given. Monsters in America. That is fantastic. And it's actually double-sided. I think the first side didn't print very clearly, so they have to do it again. Oh, no, they're different monsters. Oh, that's cool. But inside, and one of the things I love about this is, this is so sincere, it's so wonderful. We have pictures in the text. So here is a little grainy screenshot of a video of Bigfoot right there. Not just that, we have clip art. It's so good. Let me show you as well the one that kept me up at night when I was a kid. I don't know if I've ever talked about this before on the channel, but I used to watch these kind of documentaries on National Geographic, and the one cryptid which always kept me up at night was the Jersey Devil. There it is, in all of its beastiness. And it's weird that it should keep me up at night because I live in the United Kingdom and the Jersey Devil lives in New Jersey. So I don't know, I just had like these nightmares of like, you know, just sleeping at night and then just hearing a tapping on my window and there being some winged devilish beast outside with the head of a horse and the legs of a goat. Anyway, this is so fun. This is, I mean, I kind of wish we had those kind of courses over here, and I wish we had more of a, you know, cryptozoology culture in the UK. I mean, we've got a bit of it, you know, like we've got the, you know, the Beast of Bodmin Moor, or we've got, I guess also, you know, you've got Loch Ness Monster, and we actually went to a folklore museum in Falmouth recently and had a great time there, and then had a really good discussion with the owner about good old Tony Doc Shields, the very weird eccentric man who did lots of performances in the 70s with his naked coven of witches, and put forward the idea, oh, that's one more book. Oh my gosh, that's a good point. I can just show you it rather than talking about it. Morgawr. So this is the Cornish Loch Ness Monster. And although it says it was written by A Mawnan-Peller, it was actually written by Tony Doc Shields. It's a tiny repro pamphlet that was produced that kind of explained Morgawr and kind of propagated the legend. And yes, I think I might have even mentioned Morgawr in a previous video. So cool. So yeah, they reproduced this in 2023. And yes, I was lucky enough to pick one of these up at the Falmouth Folklore Museum. So there we go. What a weird video. Hope you enjoyed. And yes, please do join us in the next video, which I promise will be less weird. Bye.